Hi everyone, it's me, Krylios, Team Rayceen Productions co-host and moderator.
And I'm Dappho, Team Rayceen Productions co-host and moderator.
Joining us is Janeese Lewis George. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Thank you for joining us, Councilmember George. But before we talk about your 2024 primary re-election campaign to represent the wonderful Ward 4 on the DC Council, I live in Ward 4, please tell the viewers a little bit about your background and who you are.
Yeah, so listen, I'm a third generation Washingtonian. I was born and raised in Ward 4, so I am an uptown girl through and through. I grew up on 2nd and Kennedy Street in Manor Park. And my family has just been in this neighborhood for generations. I have, four older siblings. My mom and my grandmother are integral parts of me. My mom's a U.S. postal worker, graduate of Cardozo. My dad, too. They were high school sweethearts, grew up across the street on 13th and T Street. So my family is just such an integral part of who I am. My grandmother instilled in me the importance of good education, serving our community, and thriving for the highest standards through hard work. And I've been doing that for as long as I can remember. I'm a proud DC public school graduate. I graduated from Rudolph Elementary, Deal Junior High School, and then I'm a School Without Walls Penguin. As well. I went on to study poli-sci and sociology at St. John's University in Queens, New York, where in my studies, I studied the school to prison pipeline. And so in that work, it actually took me to Los Angeles, where I worked as a city year corps member with 7th grade students as a middle school through the city year program, teaching young students, mentoring, and getting them back on track to graduation so they didn't end up in the school to prison pipeline. That experience led me to want to become an attorney, and I went to the Howard University School of Law, HU. You know. And after my studies at Howard Law, I went on to serve as a prosecutor in Philadelphia, serving under the first African-American district attorney there in Philadelphia. In 2016, I came home to care for my father, but also to work under DC's first elected Attorney General and first Black Attorney General, Rayceen, in the juvenile section of the Public Safety Division, where I work to look at the public systems that we have for our young people. And learn to use a multi-layer approach backed by evidence to tackle some of the public safety issues we are facing post-pandemic. And it has been an honor for me for the last 4 years to be able to serve my community and really tackle the most pressing issues that are facing us, from public safety to housing insecurity to adequate facilities in education, and just to making sure our community and everyone in our community has a space in place and can thrive and are getting the government services they need. And it has just been amazing for me to be able to serve in my home ward, in my hometown, and really make a difference and deliver day in and day out for the residents that I consider to be my family.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for that, council member. Now, you were first elected to the Council of the District of Columbia in 2020. So please tell our viewers about the position for which you are running and why you decided to run for re-election.
Absolutely. Ward 4 is a diverse ward, arguably the most diverse in the city. As council member of Ward 4, my goal is to deliver for my community. That means every family that goes to school in this ward, every worker that shows up to a job in Ward 4, and the unique aspects of each neighborhood in this ward. Every day I wake up and go to bed thinking about how to be a good legislator and co-create an environment for responsive government for my people. The role of the council member is to develop sound legislation that will stand the test of time, to lead with strong oversight over our agencies, to deliver on constituent services that improve their lives. And so I have prioritized and integrated a multi-layer approach to public safety, introduced, supported, and worked collaboratively with my colleagues to fund legislation that addresses the root causes of poverty and ensure that our students attend excellent schools, staffed by teachers and administrators. During my time, I have visited every school in Ward 4. I have gone to every neighborhood in Ward 4 repeatedly. I've worked to secure funding for resources that improve lives, like the Kennedy Street Library Project, like the Homes and Hearts Amendment, which look to give funding for families who need it most through our earned income tax credit, ways that raise the wages for our early childhood educators, pass legislation like the Safe Routes to School Act to make sure the areas around our schools are safe to go to and from. And I've really continued to make sure that everyone has access to safe and affordable housing by fighting against rent hikes, making sure landlords are treating tenants correctly, and continuing just to really invest in the growth of our community and the Black community specifically, and especially as a DC native, we know how gentrification impacted us as a community. And we have to find ways to keep our people here in this community. This city has gotten more wealthier, but that wealth has not spread to everybody. And we need to create economic opportunity for our community as well. And so I've been really hell-bent on doing that work day in and day out. And that's what I look at the role of a council member as. You wear various hats: your oversight, your budget, your legislation, and your constituent services. And people used to think, well, if you do constituent services, you can't do legislative work. If you do legislative work, you're going to not do your budget and oversight work. And I've been able to show that you can do it all. You can show up for all. And it's just been an honor to do so.
Wow, wow, you have been busy, Councilwoman George. But tell us, what are your top 3 issues coming up for your new campaign?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's some of the same issues. I've said it before and I'll continue to say it. Public safety is our most pressing issue in the city right now. It is not enough to just pass sort of vanity legislation while people are still scared to walk to their cars at night. And so we have to address the root causes of poverty. We have to implement evidence-based practices that work. And I'm doing that in Ward 4, and we'll continue to work to fund it sort of across the city to ensure that DC residents feel safe. We have to do the prevention work, and the prevention work looks like why I was fighting for SNAP benefits so people have food to eat, right? Prevention work looks like paying people living wages so they don't go to alternative lives. That's why I fought for, early childhood educators to have pay parity and wages, for our domestic workers and many others, tip workers, to have wages. That's that prevention work. That intervention work is what we do through our violence interruption program, which I've been able to bring 2 violence interruption programs to our community, both in Brightwood Park, Kennedy Street, as well as in our Petworth area, intervening, stopping crews from continued beefs and gun violence that comes back and forth, doing that real critical intervention work, which is critical, having safe passage programs in our schools, having our leadership One's Leadership Academy in our schools, like I just was able to bring to McFarland. And so that intervention work is necessary. And then the enforcement work, making sure that when people do commit crimes, we're able to enforce them, we're able to prosecute them. And that works by having an accredited crime lab, making sure the evidence that's necessary to do that is there. And we built the trust with the community that we have witnesses ready to be able to make sure we can prosecute these things with fidelity. Housing is the second issue. I think that is critical. I'm committed to expanding access to affordable housing, because housing insecurity leads to all the other problems we see. Many families of color are multi-generational, and because we don't live by ourselves and have to care for other family members, we need to produce housing that supports true community. Being able to provide for our families is essential to our definitions of success. So this next term, I'm going to be, again, fighting against the rent hikes that we've seen before, but also fighting and making sure we're keeping TOPA rights for our tenants and making sure rent control remains in place the way it is. I've introduced legislation around social housing, creating new tools for housing, because we need to have deeply affordable housing and we need to have workforce housing. And we need, for our generation who grew up in these neighborhoods, to be able to afford to be able to buy a house in this neighborhood, buy a condo in this neighborhood, and not to get outbid by companies that can put down payments of cash only and waive all contingencies. And so housing continues to be critical. And then for me, it's ensuring that our youth are getting the best education in this country is paramount. My experience as an educator really inform my thoughts around school resourcing. We are facing deep budget cuts this year, but we continue to have to protect education to fully equip our students and our schools and our staff. So additionally, I do a lot of work in facilities. I go to every Ward 4 school to make sure facilities are right, make sure the schools are funded. But in this year, we're going to have to expand in Ward 4 specifically. We're going to have to deal with overcrowding issues. We're going to have to deal with making sure our schools are resourced the way they need. And I'm committed to making that happen and continuing to do that work around our schools and early childhood education as well.
Amazing. Awesome. So when Ward 4 voters go to the polls and they see your name on the ballot, let them know why you are the best choice for voters.
Listen, I will say this. I do this from a place of purpose and love that God has placed on my life. The Ward 4 is my home and my community. And so I fight for it like I fight for my family, because this is my family. I'm a proven leader who has taken on tough challenges and won. In every budget, they said the impossible could not be done. And I've always made a way out of no way. So if you want a council member who's going to make a way out of no way, who's going to fight that budget fight to the end, who's going to make sure agencies are responding to your community, then I am the council member that is going to continue to show up each and every day in that way. I have implemented strategies that show a dramatic reduction in our crime epicenters. When I look at the work I've been able to do around Kennedy Street, it wasn't just about coming there and doing enforcement work. It was also about bringing opportunities. I had job fairs on Kennedy Street. We made sure we got rid of the vacant, blighted properties and developers who were leaving those properties blighted. We made sure that we took care of the trash issues, every agency was put in place to improve and fight for a library on Kennedy Street, support our small businesses. The same with Petworth. We've been able to do the work and make sure those areas that have been hotspot areas, that we bring every agency to the table to improve the outcomes for our community. And I'm going to continue to do that work. I've protected residents from evictions and rent hikes. I'm going to continue to do that work. Rent is only going up. And we need people who are going to fight for tenants every single day. I've taken negligent landlords to court to curb blighted properties and promote restoration for homeowners in this vicinity. And I'm going to continue to fight for them. I've protected our schools from budget cuts. I've worked tirelessly to improve traffic safety in our most hazardous high traffic areas. And so in my view, Ward 4 needs a council member that has the experience to bring diverse groups of people together to create tangible changes that improve people's lives. And I'm committed to doing that work for the next 4 years. I've been a warrior for Ward 4. I've taken on those tough challenges, won. And if you want somebody who's going to fight for you to the very end and use every tool in the tool shed to get things done, then Janeese Lewis-George is your candidate and is the council member for you.
So, Councilwoman George, when does voting begin?
So ballots will go out to voters in early May. So people will get their mail ballots in early May. And you can just mail your ballot in. In-person early voting begins on May 23rd, 2024. And all registered voters should vote by Election Day, which is June 4th, 2024. So people got a long time to be able to vote. When those mail ballots go out, you can mail it in. We're going to have the drop boxes. You can drop it in a drop box. We'll have our full week of early voting start May 23rd. And then June 4th, the day is the day to get your votes in for your council member and other elected officials.
Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Please keep those dates in mind, viewers. And speaking of the viewers, please tell our viewers how they can learn more about you, how they can support your campaign, how they can volunteer, how they can, continue getting updates on this campaign.
Yes, so this is a people first campaign, and you can learn more about me and my work in the community by visiting my website at www.janeese4dc.com. You can also go to my Facebook, Instagram, and the new, I guess Elon Musk Twitter X now at Janeese4dc.com. That's at Janeese4dc on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and Janeese4dc.com on website.
Nice. Viewers, please look in the description below for links, all the links that you need to get in contact and do the work and do the voting and the volunteering and all the things. Thank you so much, Councilwoman Lewis-George. Thank you, Krylios, and thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. To
those watching, please follow Team Rayceen on social media.
And click around our YouTube channel and check out our other interviews, forums, vlogs, and more. And while you're there, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. But most of all, viewers, thank you for watching.